Hey, what's up, everyone? It's class number 160. That's an achievement in itself, isn't it? That, me and the virtual village hall got to 160 classes. Thank you for joining. What does it say here? It says Dave's back for a relaxing afternoon yoga practice. Who's ready to find their Zen? We're going to be here to find a little bit of Zen, right? A little bit of curiosity, a little bit of compassion, a little bit of kindness. That's what yoga's about, right? I'm part of a yoga collective in Leicester. We're a not-for-profit, and we're a yoga and therapy centre, which we set up before the pandemic, but it's kind of got bigger since the pandemic, and we had no grand plans for it, and it's just grown into something really beautiful, where community is a really big part of what we do. And we talk a lot about kind of economic justice, where we try and encourage people to come to classes by keeping prices low. So we have like a couple of days every Wednesday and every Friday where the classes are just £5. And I'm not sure, where you live. The nice thing about the Virtual Village Hall is I get to teach all of you guys up and down the country, in the length and the breadth of the country. Yoga varies massively, doesn't it? A lot of classes down south can be really expensive, and memberships can be really expensive as well. So we try and keep prices to the point where we encourage people to come in. So we call that economic justice. And then we've been talking this week about social justice, and social justice in the mind of, or in our thought, is that challenging the perceptions for all content creators and marketeers in the wellness industry. I don't like that kind of wellness industry thing, because it's a multi-million-pound industry, and what it does, it preys on people's insecurities. So we talk about social justice as in challenging content creators to show what a yoga practitioner actually looks like, and not just the ones where people are on a beach or on top of a mountain, in dancer pose or doing a crazy headstand, trying to show images of people like you and me. And that's not to say that some of the poses that we do, or some of the poses that you might do, like arm balances and all that stuff, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with those things. But when we're continually showing those images, what it does a disservice to most of us, because we go, do you know what? I don't want to do that. Or, do you know what? I can't do that. That's what I'm like in a lot of those. And it puts me off yoga, which is a great injustice to the practice, because yoga can be so much, as you will undoubtedly know. And if you're new to the practice, then maybe just keep that in mind. I just wanted to do a little bit of reading at the start, and then we'll get into the physical practice, and we'll get into some breath work. And it's something that I've read before, but I've not read it for a long time. And it's a book that I've gone back to this week, which is it's called Yoga: A Manual for Life by Naomi Anand. It's a really beautiful book. And she talks about yoga and self-care. So just bear with me while I read this. It's not too long, but it's maybe a couple of minutes. Find a comfortable seat. She's talking about yoga and self-care. She says, we live in a culture that constantly bombards us with contrary messages. On one hand, we are forever being sneakily encouraged to believe that we're falling short, and that happiness can be achieved if only we were to eat better, or to look sharper, or to work harder. Yet on the other hand, we're always being told that we deserve to be limitlessly indulged, that we're worth it, that we should spoil ourselves. So it's a little surprise that so many of us get trapped in a cycle of self-flagellation and self-indulgence. Self-flagellation and self-indulgence. Faddy diets followed by binges, ridiculous overwork followed by expensive spa breaks. And too often yoga, at least superficially, can find itself slipping into either camp, either in the form of punishing hot aerobics like classes, or at the other extreme, simply another form of me time, like popcorn movies or a pedicure, both of which I love, by the way. But the point of the practice is its capacity to break you out of the denial indulgent cycle by rebalancing your relationship with yourself. And this is done through authentic self-care, which is genuinely and profoundly, maybe even life-changingly nourishing. And that's because it's the product of authentically listening to your body, your mind, and your heart. A kind of deep inquiry into where you are in the there and then, because we're not always the same, and there's no reason why we should be. All of us exist in cycles, from the moment-to-moment cycle of breath to the grand cycle of life, and plenty more in between. Women's need change throughout the menstrual cycle, just as our needs change as we enter middle age. And everyone's needs change throughout the cycle of the day. Throughout the year too, you'll find yourself drawn to different ways of practicing depending on the season. In the summer, I find myself instinctively choosing longer, buoyant sequences. And then in the winter, when the days are shorter and we're naturally stiffer, almost without thinking about it, I find myself doing shorter grounding sequences. But the truth of the matter, though, is that we don't know what is truly want unless you really listen. It's only then that you're able to tune into what you need. And exactly the nature of this inquiry, radical attention, total openness and non-judgment, that means isn't simply a diagnostic tool, but also a form of future-proofing, a way of making sure that you do your best not to get run down in the first place. And this is the true purpose of self-care, and the thing that elevates it from mere individualism into a collective good. Looking after yourself, harnessing the genuinely calming power of your breath, taking steps to sleep right, avoiding burnout, finding balance. It lightens the load on the healthcare system, and it just generally adds to the gaiety of the nation. So self-care isn't selfish. It's essential to society's well-being. So I love that bit at the end. Self-care isn't selfish. It's essential to society's well-being. And maybe keep that in mind, because it's really important, right? And I like that idea that, you know, we don't come to self-care because we keep burning ourselves out, right? That's just a pattern that we probably get into. And then, oh, I need to look after myself more. We're trying to find balance, and we can do that by gentle movement, and we can do it by the power of the breath. So let's try and do that today. What I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to lie down on your mat or lie down on your floor. You don't even need a mat. Maybe place a blanket underneath you, or if you want to make it really luxurious, like place a duvet underneath your body. So come to lie down. I'm not going to join you there. I'm going to do a little bit of a reading, and we're going to do a body scan. So help yourself get in there. Hi to Irene and to Sharon. I wish I was in sunny Devon. Margaret, I always wish I was in Northumberland, Margaret, one of my favourite places. Yes, thank you. Thank you all for all the comments. And yeah, please come back and watch it if you can't do this live. So come lying down on your mat. Take up some room here. I'm just going to sit off to the side. You don't need to watch me. Watch me read. So Naomi says, slowly we're cottoning on to the central parts that stress plays in our overall health, and how much it can compromise our immune systems and lead us to all kinds of seemingly unrelated conditions. We're starting to recognize too that resting properly isn't self-indulgent, just as we've long known that eating well isn't self-indulgent. So a really nice way to do this is when we feel a little bit frayed at the edges. The power of the body scan is super, super nourishing. So we can do this lying down. So in your position when you're lying down, just let yourself feel completely relaxed. Maybe relax the fingers and the toes. And just let your bones and your body just sink down into the surface that you're lying on. Obviously, make sure you're warm enough. And maybe set a tone. Maybe set a tone for the practice. It can be like a simple instruction. So maybe something like, I am calm, or I am centered. Whatever feels good for you. I'm safe. And then this is a really nice instruction. Think of your whole body, which is super relaxed, but think of it as a lung. So don't think about the lungs on the, just isolating the lungs. Think of the lung as an entirety of your body, and breathe into your whole body. And as you do it, feel its full expansion, and try not to do this, by making the breath too powerful. Kind of use a full breath, maybe a little deeper than you would normally breathe, but make it kind of calming. And then on the exhale, when it comes, just feel where your body's in contact with the floor. Feel the ground and see if you can really surrender down to gravity. Maybe relaxing the muscles and the bones just a little bit more. And then that idea, she says here, of letting your muscles peel away from your bones. Yoga teachers say some funny things sometimes, don't they? But I understand that instruction. And as they kind of like relax and peel away from your bones, as you can just feel everything settle into the ground, maybe there's a little drop into the body. And then as you breathe in and as you exhale, relax your toes and try not to wiggle them or move your feet around. Just relax your toes without any movement. See if you can just bring your awareness to let go of any holding. And then breathe in, and then on the breath out, relax your ankles. So same thing, just let everything just fall down towards the floor. And what you want to do is you want to work your way through your whole body, right up to the crown of your head. And the idea here is don't rush it or skip anything. And you want to bring your attention to anywhere where there might be stress. You know, for me, sometimes it's my lower spine. It's lower spine today, my hips, always playing up. Maybe the dome of your mouth, your lips, your jaw, shoulders, fingers. And if you fall asleep at this point, that's okay. You probably need it. And what we'll do is we'll do this together for a few minutes, and then we'll transition slowly to sit. So I'm going to go and join you guys down on the floor, and I'm going to be quiet for a good few minutes. I don't think that the feed's falling out or I'm not here. Have faith that I will return. I'm going to stay quiet from this moment. And then from here, just take maybe 3 more rounds of breath. You know, bring your awareness to those parts of the body that really need it right now. And maybe bring your attention back to your intention. Check back in if you'd set one. I'm going to yawn. Maybe you need to yawn. Nice. And then just begin to bring a little bit of movement back in. Just a tiny bit. Maybe now you can wriggle out through your fingers and your toes, and you might want to stretch the arms and let them fall behind your head and have a really good stretch out here. Kind of stretch the body from your fingers all the way down to your toes. Imagine waking up for the second time today. And then from here, just hug your knees in towards your belly. So one knee hugs in, then the other. And then maybe grab around the shins or the knees themselves. You can clasp the hands. If it feels too much of a strain getting around the knees, then just go around the backs of the legs. So you can always bring the hands here behind the backs of the knees. And then just rock it out a little bit. Just from side to side. Breathe it out. Make sure your shoulders feel really relaxed and your gaze is just straight up towards the ceiling. If you found yourself outside today, then look up to the sky and breathe it out here. Just notice your spine, your sacrum, kind of the lower part of the spine. Just feel that relax into the earth. And then bring your soles of the feet down onto the floor. Do that really slowly. Nice. And then lift up through your feet again, just maybe an inch or two. And then bring your feet all the way back down. But this time bring them down super slow. So you feel all four corners of your feet just engage bit by bit. Nice. Do that one more time. Lift up through the feet. And then this time, just bring the right toes down onto the floor. So just the tips of the toes touch. Lift up through the right foot and bring the tips of the left toes down onto the floor. And then just move like this. I mean, you might even make a basket grip and kind of look down and see what you're doing. I'm lucky because I can see a little reflection of myself. And I'm just tapping the toes down onto the floor. I'm lengthening down through my lower spine. I'm making sure that my lower spine feels nice and relaxed. And I'm breathing and just moving really slowly here. Just these little gentle toe taps. A little bit of awareness with our movement. Nice. My knees are cracking away as well. All right, do that a couple more times either side. Little movements. Nice. And then bring both knees back in and then hug around the knees. Take a really deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, keep the right knee hugged in. So make a basket grip around the right knee. And then just purposefully, with intention, lengthen out through the left leg. So you'll see the left leg is nice and long, but it's not super relaxed. You're kind of pressing the left leg down into the floor. On an inhale, just draw the right knee in just a little bit more. So it tracks right back towards your right shoulder. Keep breathing here. You can have some little movements if that feels good. Maybe just a little bit of encouragement to open the front of this hip. Maybe you feel this pinching inside the hip. Breathe it out. You don't want any super strong sensations here. We're going to keep it nice and relaxed today. Maybe begin to draw some circles with the knee. And then if you wanted to, you want to go really crazy, you can release the hands, bring them down just by your hips, and then just draw circles with the knee independently. Again, if you want to make a basket grip, you can kind of look at the knee, maybe lengthen the leg out, and then just begin to draw some circles. And get into that right hip joint, maybe nice and slow. Leg lengthens, and then you bend back into the knee as you draw the circle back, and then maybe come back the other way a few times. Just bringing a little bit of movement here into this right leg. Beautiful. Nice. And then bring the knee all the way back to center. Hug around the knee again, make a basket grip. Take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, see if you can just draw your head up towards your knee. Couple of breaths here. Squeeze everything in. So you kind of feel the strength of your arms here. Shoulders engaged. Sacrum is nice and relaxed. Take one more round of breaths. A nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, bring everything down. Lovely. Lengthen out through the right leg. Bring both legs so they're long and let the feet fall open. And then from here, bring the arms out so they're in line with your shoulders with the palms face up. Again, that idea of just letting the bones melt down into the floor. Breathe it out here. Nice deep, rich inhales. And full releasing exhales. Everything's relaxed. One more like that. Nice deep inhale. And then a full exhale. Beautiful. Bring the right leg in just a tiny bit. Zip it up. Press it down into your mat. And then from here, bring the left knee in towards your belly. Make a basket grip. And then the same thing on this side. Hug the knee in. And just see what you need to do. Maybe you just draw the left knee back towards the left shoulder, keeping the knee and the shoulder in line. That can feel really good. Or you might just begin to kind of circle the knee out just a little bit. You feel that compression, that little pinch into the hip. And then maybe release the hands. And then again, just draw circles. You can make the basket grip. I like to do this. And lengthen the leg out. And then bend back into the knee. Just pick a direction. Breathe it out. Make this really super slow. And then maybe come back the other way. And be really curious. You know, this left hip for me, it's a little tight at the moment. I feel a little strain in my hip flexor here. So I'm working a little bit slower on this side. Really lovely stuff. Nice. Bring that left knee all the way back. Make a basket grip. Take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, draw your forehead all the way up towards your left knee. Breathe it out. Nice deep inhales. And full exhales. One more like that. Deep inhale. And a full exhale. Beautiful. Nice. Bring the legs long. Let the feet fall open. Bring the palms up. Go nice and wide with the arms. And just let the body land back down on your mat. Maybe close your eyes. And just take a few precious breaths here. Nice deep, rich inhales. And full releasing exhales. One more like that. Nice deep inhale. And a full exhale. Beautiful. All right, one more thing we'll do down here on our mat. So bring the hands so the palms are down by your hips. Bring the knees in. Bring the soles of the feet on the floor. And then when they arrive, see if you can just line the feet up with the long edges of your mat and then sweep your fingers down. You might be able to touch your ankles. If you can't, it's not too much of a problem. Just draw the feet underneath the knees. And then when you're ready, take an inhale, lift the hips, and then raise all the way up through your spine. As you exhale, roll all the way back down. Curl the tailbone all the way down. And when it's nice and flat here, repeat that, inhaling up. Then exhale down. Now remember, you don't have to come up as far as I'm going. You can just kind of raise the spine this far. As long as you're feeling something, you're all good. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. Two more like that. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, bring the spine all the way down. Final time, hook the knees back in and then just roll over to one side. Push into your top arm and then we'll come to a seated position. I'm just going to grab a little bit of water. So if you want to grab a drink, go for it. And we'll come to a seated position. Now, if you want to prop yourself up here, then please do that. Maybe have a little drink. And we're going to go through a little bit of spinal work now. So we do, a Spine Health Week at the Virtual Village Hall, and this is a sequence we put together for a few of the classes we've done in the past. So sitting here, we're going to bring our hands onto our knees. You're going to inhale the chest forward and then exhale round your spine. So you just begin to draw circles with your torso, kind of draw circles around your hips. Inhale and exhale as you go. And pick a direction and a speed that works for you. You'll have an opportunity to come back the other way. And if you're feeling it in your spine, you can just be little circles, just sit nice and tall and encourage the spine to open here, encourage the hips to begin to move, gentle. Stay nice and relaxed through your jaw. And keep that curiosity in your practice, kind of not overthinking any of this. I hear a lot of the time, oh, I'm no good at yoga. There ain't no good and bad. Believe me, there really isn't. Don't worry about all that social media nonsense. Nice. Inhale, come back to center. Take a full exhale. And then come back the other way. Inhale forward, and then exhale as you come back here. Inhale here, exhale here. We're not trying to do anything too complicated today. We're trying to keep it really relaxed, super conscious, right? We want to really feel into our practice, but we want to make it as accessible to how we are today. So you feel free to adapt in any way that feels good. Inhale, come back to center. And then as you exhale, just let your breath go. And then do that one more time. Inhale through your nose. And then exhale through your mouth. One more time. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. Lovely. Lean back into your hands. And then just bring your feet out. And then just drop your knees to either side. We do this a lot, don't we? A little bits of movements where we're just making sure we're not tightening up. Because we're going to sit here for a little bit. There's probably not going to be any standing today. All of the stuff we'll do will be seated or on our knees. Nice. And then come back to center. And then we'll do a little bit of spinal flex. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring your hands onto your front shin. And the hands just clasp the kind of the ankle and the shin bone. Doesn't matter which shin's in front. And then you inhale here. Now, you might not have even seen that. You inhale. You see my heart center's lifted. And I've just brought my chest through. And then as I exhale, around my spine. So I inhale here and I exhale here. My head stays nice and still. You know, I'm not kind of moving my head like this. I want to keep my head still. And the spinal flex is just from my lower spine. So I'm just bobbing up and down, really. All right. So maybe use the breath. So inhale, exhale. So you inhale as the head pops up and exhale as you round your spine. And not a lot of movement is coming from the head, as I say. And with the hands on the shin, I could remove the hands and the movement's still the same. I'm just resting them there. The movement's coming from my navel more than anything. When you're ready, take a nice deep inhale. Lengthen your spine. Take a full exhale through your mouth. One more like that. Deep inhale through your nose. And then a full exhale through your mouth. All right, we're going to twist and we're going to do a lateral movement, so side to side. So maybe bring your other shin in front. Have a little wriggle around. Make sure you feel comfortable. And bring your left hand down into your mat. And then inhale your right arm over towards the left. So you see that nice line that I've got there? My right arm is right by my right ear. So I've got all this room from fingertip all the way down to my hip. And then as I exhale, I'm going to the other side. All right, so it's a dynamic movement, which means we move with the breath. Inhale left, exhale right. Inhale left, exhale right. This one's quite energizing, but lateral movements allow us to move into the side of the body and really breathe in between the ribs. Think about your intercostal muscles. Inhale left, exhale right. Three more either side. Bring the top arm all the way down. Take a deep inhale. Take a full exhale through the nose or through the mouth. One more like that. Deep inhale. And a full exhale. Beautiful. All right. Twisting. Right hand on the heart. Inhale, left arm out. Twist from the torso. Exhale to the other side. So you just swap it out. Inhale left, exhale right. And you can probably hear me breathing. It sounds a bit odd, right? But I'm using my breath quite intentionally. So I'm using my breath to energize myself. I've said this a lot of times before. This class comes in the middle of the afternoon, 2:30 for a lot of us. That's a time where we feel a little bit low of energy. It's usually a time I have my afternoon nap, actually. All that stuff I was talking about earlier about looking after yourselves. Then 20-minute nap, it does me proud. Any more than that, and I'm in trouble. Inhale left, exhale right. Three more times either side. Bring the hands down. So this time the fingertips. Press into your mat. Take a deep inhale. Take a full exhale. One more like that. Deep inhale. And a full exhale. Beautiful. Then bring the hands, so the hands, so the palms up. And then bring your thumb and your forefinger together. Sit nice and tall. Maybe close your eyes or soften your gaze. And just check in with your experience. Notice what you're noticing. Maybe a little hum or a buzz of energy in the body. Maybe you feel a little different. Notice the effects of your practice. And we'll just stay here. I'll be quiet just for a little bit of time. And then if you had your eyes closed, just very gently open your eyes. And then very briefly, we'll come on to all fours. So when you're ready, remember, on all fours, anything going on with your knees, then you need to pad your knees out any way it feels good for you and set yourself up in tabletop position. And then we're just going to really spread out through our fingers. And then we're going to move through cat and cow. So inhale, drop your belly down, lift your head, lift your heart as you exhale around your spine. And move at a pace that feels good for you. Inhale here, so the spine is long, the head and the heart lift, and exhale, you really round the spine. You kind of push in between the shoulder blades. You're moving a little bit quicker like I am, then maybe slow it down. Do 3 more. Inhale, come back to center. And then as you exhale, split the knees nice and wide, and then just settle back into a child's pose. So bring the sit bones back towards the hips, bring the arms out in front. And now feel free to move around a little bit here as you settle in. And let the heart just melt down towards the earth. And breathe super deep here. But keep that breath nice and relaxed. You're not kind of forcing the breath, but it might be a longer, little bit more nourishing. And sometimes in child's pose, we want to wriggle around a little bit. We want to kind of settle into a shape that feels good for us. So feel free to do that. And depending on what you're working with, it doesn't mean that child's pose is always going to be a really comfortable position. For a lot of us, it takes time to settle in. Let's take 3 more rounds of breath. And then when you're ready, roll your hands back towards your knees, press into your hands, and then just roll all the way up. Come to sit. And then we'll finish off in a seated position today. So I'm going to come a little closer towards the camera. Let me shuffle forward. I said I wasn't going to stand, so I'll come along this way. All right. Beautiful work. So come sitting cross-legged. Again, if you want to grab a little drink, go for it. Okay. All right. So bring the hands back onto your knees. Maybe close your eyes. Or just keep your gaze nice and soft. And then back to, the power of the body scan again. Maybe check in with your physical body. Notice how your physical body feels. And you can scan your body again, maybe this time from the crown of your head all the way down to your toes. And try not to rush this again. For me, if I close my eyes, then I can really feel into those parts. Without the external stimulus where I'm sometimes distracted. Just take 3 more rounds of breath. Try not to rush them. See if you can make them really, really slow. Super, super nourishing. And then from here, bring your hands to your heart center. Make a prayer with your hands. Press the tips of the fingers and the palms together. And then just press your thumbs into your sternum. And just take this time to notice the effects of your practice, for thanking yourself for showing up, for getting onto your mat, for being curious, for being game and willing to just step into the unknown. Every time we do that, we don't quite know what's going to unfold. And just have a wholehearted bow. Wish yourself well and wish everybody else well. Namaste. Thanks, you guys. It's really nice to have you along today. Really nice to practice with you. Pretty relaxed today. Nothing standing. Sometimes when we go back to some of those basics, then we kind of see what the practice is, right? Sometimes when we're doing yoga, which is a little bit more physical, then we sometimes miss those more subtle parts of ourselves. What I love about yoga is that we have room and we have time to do all of these things, right? So we'll just play around with it from week to week. And as long as you're compassionate and curious and kind to yourself, then yeah, you're going to be good, right? Seriously, you're going to be good. Next week, next Friday, remember, I've got my vegan cooking with Matt Pritchard, which will be great fun. Me and Matt did a live chat last year for Men's Mental Health Week, and we're going to be doing some cooking this year. Vegan cooking looks like a really lovely recipe, and we'll both be cooking in our kitchens. Matt, I would have thought, will be at his home in Cardiff, and I'll be here in Leicester, and that's next Friday. I can't remember the time. I think it's 11 a.m, but the schedule will be up. Come and watch it, because I think it'll be really good fun. And we'll talk all about diet, not diet as in diets, but diet as in what we eat and what nourishes us. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about mental health. We usually do, and talk about exercise and how that serves us. So yeah, please come along for that. It should be good fun. And thank you to you guys. Fiona, thank you. In cloudy East London, and Jackie, thank you very much. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Always a pleasure. Thank you to the Virtual Village Hall for hosting me, and whatever you're doing this weekend, I hope it's a good one. Thank you, Sharon. Look after yourself. See you later. Bye now.